Kyle, it's been quite a run for you. Last weekend was a great weekend shooting the ball, but over kind of short periods of time where you got really red hot. Can you feel that coming on at all, or what's that like for somebody that has never experienced that?
Well, the way I see it is I come in the first half, and the last two games I ended up only missing or making one shot, and I missed all of them in the first half in both games, and I was able to come in the second half after having sat there the whole rest of the first half and had time to think about it, and I really just try and focus in and come in the second half and make up for the missed opportunity in the first half.
Well, against Umsel, for instance, you came in and all of a sudden they started dropping. You must realize that at the time that you've kind of hit a streak there.
Yeah, when I hit that first one, it really opens up the rim for me. All I really need is just to make one shot, and after that it just kind of clicks. And then sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time that really opens up the door for me to keep making them.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting concept. You mentioned opening up the rim for you. Tell me what that's like.
It's just when it goes through. Just my whole life, I've pretty much just been a shooter. So when it goes through the rim, it just changes my feeling. It gets me more focused. It makes me play a little harder, which doesn't sound good, but it's just like a kind of like a rush, just like a adrenaline rush when you make one of those.
Do you have what I've always called shooter's mentality, that you just have to keep shooting because that's your job?
Yeah, whether I make or miss, I'm probably just always going to keep shooting if I'm open. Missing it doesn't really affect me. It might make me mad, but it's not going to stop me from shooting the next one if I'm open and it's the right shot.
Has the right shot become different in college than it was in high school for you?
In high school, I could maybe shoot a little more contested shots, but in college it's definitely a lot more you have to pick and choose the right ones because everybody on your team can really score a lot more than in high school, so it's not as efficient for me to shoot as much. So I'm always looking for the open person, and then sometimes I look for my shot first, but a lot of the time I'm looking to get it inside or get it to the other person that's open, because everyone can really score just as well, if not better, than I can.
Kyle Smith is our guest here at halftime, talking about shooting a little bit. What was it like for you as a scorer in high school? Were you kind of a spot-up guy like you are for us this year, or were you more of a scorer-slasher kind of a guy?
I started out as a spot-up person, but as the years went on and I kind of moved into a bigger role, I started doing a little more, attacking a little more. And right now in college, it's kind of, I'm the spot-up guy because we have people like Dwight who really can attack and penetrate and get me open shots, which makes my job a lot easier, so I don't really have to do as much like I did in high school, which is nice, actually.
Hey, what has it been like to transfer from college, or from high school rather, to college? The speed of the game is what I'm getting at here. Is it a big step up?
Oh yeah, it's a definite big step up. I went to a couple of my high school games recently, and they have no shot clock. Both teams played zone. Possessions were taking 2 minutes just to get a shot up. It's a lot different. It's a lot more fun, actually, and it's the added element of the shot clock makes it a lot more interesting from a player's perspective.
Kyle, from a player's perspective, what has been the thing you've learned the most here your first year?
The thing I've learned the most is that, everyone in college wants to play hard all the time. They want to work hard every second in practice, every second in the game. Sometimes in high school you have little lapses, because people like to play the whole game, so, they let sometimes things get the best of them. But here in college, everyone, no matter what, just always works their hardest and plays their hardest in games and takes advantage of every opportunity they get.
Do you feel any kind of fatigue coming on here? Because if this was a high school season, you'd be done by now.
No, I don't play quite as much as I did in high school, but when I come in, we just work hard and we practice every day. And starting out the season with our gym being as hot as it was, I think I really conditioned well, and I think our coaches get us prepared as best they could for our games.
Freshman guard Kyle Smith is our guest. Now, I'm going to ask you the same thing I did about basketball, but about being a student. What's been the biggest change and the biggest thing you've had to learn now being a student?
The biggest change is that, we don't go to class all day, but the classes we do have are a lot harder. So you got to really focus your time in and pay attention in classes, because sometimes you don't even have to go, but I try to go to every class and pay attention and just work as hard as I can on all my assignments. and really just time management's the biggest difference.
You have a major picked out yet?
I mean, I'm undecided, but right now it's looking like business. I'm taking a bunch of financing classes and accounting, so we'll see if I end up liking that, and that's probably the direction I'll go.
Trying to spend other people's money, is that kind of what you have in mind?
Me and my friend talked about possibly like being a financial accountant for a couple of years, and then maybe like applying for the FBI and seeing if we could do that. But that's pretty far ahead in the future, so it's really just up in the air.
Tell me a little bit about your family, if you would.
My family, I have a little sister. Her name is Blake. She is 14. All my siblings are 4 years apart, so I'm 19. Actually, she's turning 15 in about a month or two. And then I have an older brother who's 23. He actually lives out here in Wisconsin. He went to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. He just graduated, and he's a head swim coach out here at a high school. And then my older sister's 27, and she's a teacher down in Arkansas. She just moved down there, and her fiance now just asked her to marry her about a couple months ago.
You like him?
Yeah, he's really nice. He's really cool. I haven't met him too much, because she lives very far away, but she comes down every once in a while. But I really like him.
Of the four of you, who's the best three-point shooter?
Well, everyone else in my family is a swimmer, so I'm the only basketball player. My older sister and older brother both swim in college, and my little sister is looking like she's going to swim in college. She tried out basketball, and my brother did, but they just didn't stick with it. Swimming was definitely their sports.
Kyle Smith, our guest. Finally, you look like you have a lot of fun playing. I mean, with the guys or whatever. Not that you're taking things lightly on the court, but you know what I mean. What is it about basketball that you like the best?
I think what I like the best about it is that I wasn't always, like good or the best shooter, but as the years have grown and I've worked harder and harder, I've really noticed myself progress. And I think the best part is, always like progressing, and then progressing as a team is a fun part because we started out, not knowing how we were going to be, and I think we've played a lot of games closer than a lot of people thought we would, and I think by the end of the year we really have a good chance to completely click on a better level and really take this team as far as we can.
What do you like to do outside of basketball?
Outside of basketball, typically like to hang out with friends. At Jewel, we hang out with our basketball team. There's a couple friends in my dorm that we're always hanging out, just playing 2K, video games, just relaxing. Sometimes I go home and hang out with one of my good friends who stayed down in Olathe. Go home and see my family a lot. That's about it.
Well, thank you for taking the time here at halftime.
Thank you for having me.
Kyle Smith has been our guest, and we're back after this.